For 150 years, it's a long time.
I'll never see it. I'm kind of honored to be the company commander of Ladder 1 as it turns 150 years old.
Well, it's a lot of years to have one company. I imagine it's changed quite a bit from what they had in the beginning.
It's a good thing it's not one ladder. It's a good thing they've had, I think, 8 or 9 ladders, because that would be an old ladder. They'd still be pulling, hustlers would still be pulling it.
And it was pulled up the hills, down the hills, and around the streets by hand. They began to bring horses in, then, gas engines, diesel engines, and through that time, many, many great men have ridden the streets of Brockton to protect its people.
Shows the importance of the truck, first of all, and the longevity that it has, and the willingness to staff it, keep it in operation in the city. Pretty amazing.
So 150 years of getting things done. That's what Ladder 1 is. It's just getting things done.
I'm proud to be on a truck that's been on the department for that long.
When we first got on, we would switch different trucks. We'd go from the engine to the squad to the ladder. So we got to learn what each truck's job was to do when you went to a fire or just regular calls.
What does it do? Well, it rescues. Ladder trucks performance is all kinds of different operations, but mainly throw ground ladders at fires, rescue people through the windows.
So you had a lot to do. You weren't just standing waiting. You had work to do, and everybody worked together as a team, which made things easier.
Well, the ladder guys do mostly the opening up operations. They would actually do all the venting, so when they get to a fire in the beginning, they would take out the windows or raise the ladder to the roof, which is very common, is to vent from the roof, because that's the best way to vent a building. So putting a hole in the roof can draw all the smoke and hot gases out through the roof and make it tenable inside for the engine company or the squad company or the other men to operate.
The squad guys aren't going to want to hear this, but it's 50 years, it's a little less than 50 years older than the squad. It's a go-to company for many years. As of the last couple of years, we've been able to staff up on the ladders very well. Before that, Ladder 1 was the only other ladder company in the city that really always had four firefighters. And what that means is they could be a go-to company. They could work in tandem with Squad A to get a multitude of heavy tasks done. Because now you have 8 members right there ready to go to work.
It requires me to think, and I don't know. So obviously, helping the public, like we say, we're saving life and property, which is what we do. Obviously, when you can actually save property and save people, that's, it's obviously is something that you feel good about when you get done. When you come home from the call and you know that you did something that actually was successful. Not every call that we go on does have a successful ending. Or even when people actually get to go in after the fire and they get to collect valuables, stuff that they cherish, stuff like that, simple things like pictures and stuff like that, when you get to see people going in and collecting that as opposed to seeing a big pile of rubble or something, or they can't get it, obviously it feels a lot better when you can see that happen.
Heavy rescue, and of course the aerial ladder does the rescue. The ground ladders, they usually carry a multitude of ground ladders. I think they carry like different times, 235s, 45, and another roof ladders and stuff like that. So it has a large contingent of ground ladders, and the aerial ladder on Ladder 1 was a 100-foot aerial at the time.
Now the Ladder 1, the tiller, which I think I had maybe 2 rides on, where I was on it twice, was kind of interesting because the way you had to position the front of the ladder versus the back of the ladder with the guy driving it. So you would have to position that, so if you were putting the ladder up, there were certain things that you had to do to get the ladder out of the bed and up to the roof, wherever you were going. And then ground ladders, so you would take the ground ladders. In order to get the ground ladders out of ladder 1, you had to take the tiller seat, move it over, and pull the steering wheel out. So you could take the ground ladders and pull them out, which was kind of interesting. So you had a little bit of work to do to get yourself, get yourself going.
Throwing ladders, ground ladders, it's actually a skill that's something we have to work on often because it's not as easy as you might think it is. That's why I like to try to get out there every once in a while and get everyone hands on the ladders and just get familiar with how to move them properly in tight spaces, stuff like that. But yeah.
Ladder truck does search and rescue, forcible entry, ventilation, and salvage and overhaul.
We do everything from motor vehicle accidents, extrication, to bloody noses and bumps and bruises on the school grounds.
We assist the engine company where possible.
So obviously we do not have water, so we can't go straight towards the fire. Our job is mostly if we've done our search and rescue or primary search and we're finished with that, the next most important thing to do is ventilate the building because it helps the guys inside that are on the engine companies. It will relieve the heat and smoke in the area and helps them get to the fire quicker and easier.
What doesn't a ladder truck do? I think Captain Grady was here before me, and like he'll say, no easy gig on that big stick.
Work ethic. Ladder guys get all the important stuff done. Engine guys just go in and put water on a fire. That's all they do. There's no strategy to what they do. Ours is all strategy.
In the City of Brockton, Ladder 1 is a frontline piece. Rooms wouldn't be attainable. So the difference is vast because Ladder Company has a lot more to do. It's more of a thinking man's truck, where an engine company is a direct go-to-work operation.
No, well, one thing on the old ladder 1, if we had to put the ladder up and we were using water on the ladder, we would have to take the hose, I believe it was 3-inch, and that would hang down the back and we would stretch it up to the ladder pipe, hook it up, and then bring it down, and then they would supply that line, and we would have to attach ropes to the ladder pipe gun. And that was how you could control which way the ladder pipe went. So that was kind of interesting too, so you had to pay attention to that. And I'm pretty sure that's how it all worked. And that's it. That's great job, great.
All priorities that a fireground needs.
Being a firefighter on Ladder 1, obviously, I worked under great, smart, educated officers. All but 2 that I worked under went on to become deputies. One of them is now the chief, so I had a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge that I was able to pull from those guys, being on Ladder 1 with them in charge, and I'm definitely grateful for that opportunity. Definitely got lucky in that area too with all those officers that they had goals of moving on, so they spread their knowledge with us as firefighters.
If you have a ladder officer downtown, he's down there for a reason. Because for many years, that was a very sought-after position. So he's worked hard to get there. So he's conscientious and he's ready to go to work. A lot of times, too, the acting deputy in a couple of the groups is a ladder captain. So that's a guy who understands the bigger picture of the fireground. So it's a go-to person for the incident commander, because he knows that he can think as a ladder captain, but he can also think as the deputy of the group.
It's 2 different jobs, from being the captain on Ladder 1 to acting deputy. As the captain, you see the inside. As the acting deputy, you're looking from the outside. And keeping the guys safe in both spots is imperative.
But I used to be on the deputy's car and the ladder, because I was also acting deputy. But there was some great ladder work done there. There was a lot of a lot of great ladder work done at different fires, and sometimes it was overlooked. I kind of think of the one was at East Main Street. That particular fire, they raised, they raised the aerial. They went to the floor, got all the people out, and that was the type of job they did. They put 35s up and went up and cleared the building. Of course, there was some really big fires too. We had where there was a lot different ladder work and using everything from the ladder pipe and the lines laid into it. Right now, I can't think of, but we had a lot of times that we used the ladder pipe, and we had a conflagration up in Montello, up there where all the factories are, up on Spark Street, and the ladders set up all over, and they used the ladder pipes, and that's another big operation through the ladders, and the engine company kind of cooperates with them and gets the water to them.
One of my most memorable calls is I hadn't been on the department for 2 years. I was driving ladder 1. We went to respond to a report of a gas leak at Pleasant and West at the D'Angelo's restaurant. As we were pulling in, my officer at the time, Dick Piantoni, there were supposed to be police officers on scene. And he said, well, where are the police officers? And I pointed, I said, they're over there. They had moved across the street to what was then a Kentucky Fried Chicken. And my officer, Dick Piantoni, said, stop. As soon as I hit the brake on the truck, the restaurant blew up. I was sitting there and the truck was getting pelted with debris. I had turned my head down because I thought the windshield was gonna come in on me. I was looking over at the officer and a huge section of the building landed on and was hanging off the side of the ladder. So he instructed me to back out. I ended up backing out onto Pleasant Street blind. We get out, there was a bread delivery guy who had gotten injured. He's the one that discovered the break-in at D'Angelo's, and he comes over to me and he's like, I'm scared. And I'm like, I don't blame you. It was quite a thing. The force of the explosion was the steel girders of the building were bent over. A mailbox was pushed across the street and bent over. There was gouges out of the front of the ladder. It was quite a thing. I knew I was in for an exciting job after that. So.
There were a lot of big fires that we've gone to. I was at the Clifton Avenue fires, which was a factory down there. And they've had a shoe company up in the north side, and then the London Clothing is another one. There were a lot of big fires back in the day.
It's always nice to help somebody. That's what I felt, trying to help somebody. And that meant a lot to me.
So 312 North Main is a fire that sticks out to me. Both ladders were set up in each side of the building. Ladder 4 was set up on the north side, ladder 1 was set up on the south side, and the wind was blowing north to south, so ladder 4 had a completely clear area where they were working from, and ladder 1 was just covered in smoke. When we first showed up, we were trying to hit certain spots of the B side of the building. We were having trouble. I had to actually get down, this was when I was still a private, I had to get down and kind of stand as a relay halfway between the building and the truck itself, so I could help the person on the turntable aim the water to where it needed to be, because from the turntable you could not see the building because of how thick the smoke was. We did a lot of hard work there. We were working all night long into the next day. Drive by it now, it's just an empty parking lot.
We got a good splurge of fires. We had a good 2.5 over on 3rd Avenue. We had a very good fire ripping through the porches up on Weston Street, and we were able to do a lot of hard work. The ladder guys are the tool guys.
I remember my very first fire was 211 Pleasant Street, and I was, I was out of drill school for maybe 3 weeks. We weren't even assigned yet. We were on a rotation at the time, And I remember, if I remember right, I think we pulled 6 people out over ladders. I'd never seen an operation like that before, you know, and that Ladder 1 crew was something else, man. You had Jimmy Grady and Peter Gray and Larry Cap. These were old guys. You know, these guys they weren't 45. They were old, and they worked, man. They climbed those ladders. They pulled those people out, and gosh, wow, what a great group of guys they were. And I learned a lot from those guys. You know, they were impressive men to be around. Yeah, that's what I remember. The men, being around the men.
I had a lot of good memories from Ladder 1. The camaraderie with the guys, and being down there for as long as I was, seeing all the turnover, you know, but just the thing that'll stick with me forever is the camaraderie with the guys, and just what the relationships that you build, and even to this day, guys that have been retired for years that, you know, you still have that common bond with. It's just amazing.
The members you work with really make it enjoyable to come to work.
Peter Simber, yeah. He'd wear his hat like that. Sometimes when he tried to get something across, he would swear. Sankey, Sankey was a quiet guy, but he was a tough. I learned a lot from him, Sankey. As far as being a ladderman, he was a good ladderman. We had a fire near the station. It was a taxpayer block, and the deputy asked us to open up the roof. So we went up there and we opened up the roof. We thought we had it open, but it's an old building. They had a metal ceiling, and we used a pike pole to push down the ceiling. All it did is the metal would bent and didn't let out enough smoke. We told the deputy that we open up the roof, but then he says, there's not enough smoke coming out of there. So he says, get up there and make like woodpeckers. So we put a bunch of holes in the roof, and he left us there all night long because he didn't think we did a good enough job. When we got back, the guys back to the station, the guys would all be waiting for us and going, The woodpeckers are back.
Oh, I enjoyed the whole job. I enjoyed working in the station. I enjoyed working with the guys at fires because everybody got along good. And when you work good at fires, you also work good with people. It makes it a very enjoyable job.